What is up, everybody? We are back with another Halo Flashpoint video, and today we will be talking about grenades, explosives, and frags. Oh my! I just thought I'd do a quick video explaining how these types of attacks are resolved, as they do act a bit differently than your normal attacks in Flashpoint. Firstly, let's break down the different terminology. Grenade. A grenade is a type of weapon that comes in a variety of different forms, mostly frag. The essence of the grenade is it can be thrown or lobbed, potentially bouncing around and missing the intended target. The grenade then detonates and damages all models in the cube it lands in. This differs from a normal attack in two key ways. 1. You throw or lob the grenade into a cube. A grenade doesn't target a specific model. It targets a cube. As such, you only have to draw a line of sight to the cube you want to hit, and not to a specific model. If you can't do this, you may also have the ability to blindly throw the grenade into the cube over a wall, as nothing is in the way. This is good, as it allows you the ability to steal damaged enemy models that are hiding, either by good positioning or through the use of items like active camouflage. The second way grenades differ from a normal attack is 2. The grenade detonates and damages all models in the target cube. This includes friendly models as well. This detonation will be denoted by the type of grenade, as for example, Frag 4. The 4 indicates you get a 4d8 dice for your initial damage roll. All types of detonation have 4+ to hit or explode for these tests. To resolve this, you indicate the first model you'll be rolling against, and continue doing this until all models have been attacked. I'll go into a bit more detail about the specifics of grenade attacks in a bit. Next up is explosive. Explosive is a type of weapon, i.e. an explosive weapon. Explosives will commonly be found on rocket launchers, fuel rod cannons, and similar weaponry, and can kind of be thought as a direct fire launcher. Explosive weapons are resolved in much the same way as a grenade. They do not target models, instead targeting cubes. So if a model is tucked behind a corner, you can still hit the cube and blow them up. A key difference between a grenade and an explosive is an explosive must have direct line of sight to the cube, and cannot be thrown over a wall like a grenade, because like I said, it is more like a direct fire projectile. Like grenades, explosives come in several varieties, like frag and implosion. After the initial roll to hit the target cube, an explosive weapon also then has a subsequent detonation roll to determine how much damage the explosive does, just like a grenade. A second key difference between grenades and explosives are what happens when you miss. Both types of attack require you to roll a 3-dice range test to determine if you successfully hit the cube you want, with a minimum 1 success required. Grenade reads. There will always be other keywords to denote the type of explosive attack after rolling a hit, e.g. frag N. Grenades are thrown using a shoot action. Choose a target cube within range. If you do not have line of sight to the target cube, then both the shooting model and the target cube must be visible when viewed from directly above. I.e. the grenade is thrown directly into the cube if you have line of sight, or lobbed over whatever is blocking line of sight. Roll a 3-dice range test 1, with no modifiers or rerolls allowed. Success means the grenade has landed in the target cube. Failure requires a scatter roll. See page 28. To determine which cube the grenade detonates in. The enemy does not make a roll to oppose this shoot test, but there may be a later damage roll, e.g. frag. A grenade that would scatter through a solid wall or the board edge will bounce off it and stay in the original target cube. The effect the grenade has varies by type. See the weapon profile or item description for the range, AP, and keywords for that grenade type. So on a fail, the grenade will bounce around, hit walls, and land somewhere. Explosive reads, when an explosive weapon is used, it may injure or kill individuals within an area of effect, and the force of the explosive will throw survivors to the ground. There are always other keywords to denote the type of explosive attack after rolling to hit, e.g. frag N. When using an explosive weapon, perform a shoot action, which must target a cube that is in a line of sight. You do not need to be able to see an individual model in the cube. Make a 3-dice range test 1, with no modifiers or rerolls allowed. If successful, the target cube is hit. If failed, roll to scatter, page 28. To determine which adjacent cube on the same level is hit instead. There is no opposed roll made by the enemy to the shoot test, but there may be a later damage roll, e.g. frag. Explosive weapons will not bounce off solid walls. They will affect whichever cube the scatter roll indicates. If they scatter off the battlefield, they miss completely and have no effect. Now resolve the type of attack on the affected cube using the other keywords. On a fail for an explosive, this weapon will penetrate through walls instead of bouncing, and detonate because, like it says, A, it will not bounce, B, it affects whatever cube the dice shows, and makes no account for walls and such, so it penetrates through the wall. So those are the two basic weapons of this type, explosive and grenade, and I think I'll call them delivery methods for ease of understanding. With those done, I'll talk about a third thing I have mentioned quite a bit, frag, short for fragmentation. Frag, along with implosion, is the type of detonation an explosive or grenade has. Frag is much more common than implosion, and the difference between the two is after the damage is resolved, a fragmentation grenade will also scatter and pin models, whereas an implosion grenade will not. As I said previously, all detonations are 4+ to hit, and are displayed as frag N or implosion N. The N will change based on how strong the weapon is, and show you how many dice you start with when you determine your damage roll. Some things to note are A. You may not modify this initial pool of dice for either frag or implosion, so you may not spend an extra die. B. You may not make rerolls for this detonation, if for some reason you have access to a keyword to allow you to do so. But note, headshots or exploding 8s are not rerolls, and so they will still apply. One final thing to look at are the various modifiers for the grenades and explosive. Here are the following modifiers specific to these two weapons, blast and sticky. Sticky is most commonly found on the plasma grenade and reads. If 2 or more successes are rolled when making the range test to throw the grenade, it will deplete all the energy shields of one model chosen by the attacking player in the target cube and within line of sight of the model that threw it. Like it says, when using this type of weapon, if you roll 2 successes on the initial throw of the grenade, you may deactivate all shields of one model in that cube. But please note, it does say that the model has to be in line of sight. Now, blast reads, before the damage and other effects of this weapon have been resolved, the models in all cubes adjacent to the explosion in all directions have one energy shield depleted. This is fairly simple. Simply remove one shield from all models within one cube of the targeted cube, including friendly models. Note, this does not include the cube the detonation occurred in, only the adjacent cubes. A key thing to remember is the blast rule says nothing about walls or obstructions, so even if a blast and a model are on opposite sides of a wall, the model still loses one shield. Do keep in mind, your attack may have other modifiers, such as lethal, but as those aren't specific to grenades or explosives, I'm not going to list every single keyword. So in summary, we have 3 categories and 1 subcategory. The type of weapon, or the delivery method. This is either a grenade or an explosive. The type of detonation. This is either a frag or an implosion. The type of modifiers. This is either blast, sticky, or non-specific keywords such as lethal. So with those basics covered, let's go through a basic attack. The red Spartan has a frag grenade item and wishes to attack the blue Spartan. There is a wall in between them, so normally this attack would be illegal, as there is no line of sight, but because the frag grenade has the keyword grenade, it can be lobbed over the wall and into the blue Spartan's cube. The red Spartan firstly makes a regular ranged attack, requiring at least 1 success to land the grenade in the desired cube. The blue Spartan, at this time, makes no saves, and it isn't being damaged yet. This is just a test to see if the grenade is lobbed well enough. On a fail, the grenade would scatter, using a D8 into an adjacent cube, or potentially bouncing off a wall. In our instance, the red Spartan makes the greatest throw ever, of all time, and successfully lands the grenade in the desired cube. From here, we will look at what type of detonation the grenade has and how strong it is. The frag grenade item has frag 5. Because it is frag, regardless of results or damage, the enemy model is going to be blown up and scattered into an adjacent cube, as well as pinned. The 5 indicates that you start with 5 dice for the detonation damage roll. In the grenade keyword section, it tells you that the detonations are successful on a 4+. So it is 5d8 dice hitting on a 4+. From here, the attack is resolved as normal, with you rolling the attack and your opponent rolling their save. See my video on attacks and saves for more specifics on resolving attacks and saves. The grenade has 5 successes, whereas the blue Spartan rolls 2 saves, reducing the successes by 2, to a total of 3 hits to the blue Spartan. You then move on to shields, armor, and finally HP. After this is resolved, because this is a frag weapon, after the attack is fully finished, enemy blue Spartan is also scattered and pinned, as noted here in the rules. I'll do another example with an explosive weapon. Everyone's favorite, the Spanker. The red Spartan has the rocket. The blue Spartan has moved up, but is hidden behind this wall. Normally, the red Spartan wouldn't attack the blue one, but as he has an explosive weapon, he will only need to draw line of sight to the cube, and not to the blue Spartan specifically. He can do so. At this time, the attacking player rolls dice to see if they successfully hit the cube with their rocket. They roll a 3 dice range test 1, with, as I have said, the the 1 indicating 1 success is required minimum. It is simply to see how well the rocket was launched. Oh no, the red Spartan misses his shot. He failed to roll a minimum of 1 success. However, the rocket is still going to land somewhere. Now the attacking player must roll to see what cube the attack will land in. They roll a 7, but that is on the other side of a wall. The rocket penetrates through the wall and will explode in the indicated cube. However, as no models are in this cube, there is no point in resolving the actual detonation. You do, however, trigger the blast keyword. And though the blue Spartan was lucky enough to dodge the rocket itself, it is still smacked by the blast wave and takes 1 shield damage, as does any other model in an adjacent cube. And there we have it. That is explosive and grenade and their subtypes. It isn't so hard to resolve these attacks as long as you remember A. Roll to see if you hit the desired cube, or else you would miss and hit a different one. B. Determine your initial detonation dice pool. These are always detonate on a 4+. C. Resolve the attack as normal from here. I hope you found this video helpful and easy to understand. Let me know if you have any other questions about grenades or explosives, or if you think there is another topic you would like covered. It would help me out if you would consider doing the whole YouTube thing, liking, commenting, subbing, and vibing. I'll catch you next time with more Halo Flashpoint content. Goodbye.